So you rewatched season 1 and 2?
I did.
And I watched Trixie and Katya. Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
This is I'm watching The Umbrella Academy, season 3, episode 1.
Meet the family.
So it's so funny because I said to you right before we sat down, where I was like, I forgot that that it was good.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, I didn't forget it was good. I remembered it was good. I forgot why.
Yeah.
Or like what it was like. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's super
so weird. There's times where I'm like, am I not understanding this, or is this part of the weirdness? And 2 out of 3 times, yes.
Okay. Sure.
There's a handful of times that it's like, huh? I do love that it is kind of just like half off kilter.
Yeah.
In the storytelling, because it was a little bit frustrating the first act of this episode because nobody was getting it.
Yeah.
And I was sort of like, there's a precedent for shenanigans in this reality.
Yeah, because also no one on either side was getting it.
Was like, wait a minute, I think there might have been a glitch in the Matrix. Like that would have been in the top 3 things I assumed was happening.
Yeah, we also were like halfway through the episode before Reginald even said what he did. And so it's sort of like, and I don't know, like the Umbrella Academy just was like, well, this is our house. And they're like, well, no, it's our house. And I'm like, it can be both your houses. Like, just because you live here doesn't mean that like they didn't also have that experience.
Well, the point I was making was the show eventually just sort of, I just accepted it. I was like, okay,
Sure.
this is just how we're treating this scenario. And I do sort of like the Jets and the Sharks mentality that they're bringing to this rumble for the house. I forgot what a cock Reginald is.
Oh, yeah, he's awful. Although, weirdly, in this timeline, he seems to be getting run roughshod over by the kids.
You think so?
Yeah. Like Marcus summoned him to a meeting, and then Christopher, the box, escorted him out.
Mm. Like,
as if, you're finished now, please leave. Whereas, with the Umbrella Academy, he was like a total dick, and was like overbearing towards them, and it feels the opposite now.
So the premise...
And also, I'm feeling fascisty within the show. The Sparrow Academy feel like fascists. There's billboards of them literally everywhere.
It's bleeding over into the boys' territory. And,
I am taking deep breaths. I'm fine so far. We'll see.
So the premise is that after saving... Do you need a minute?
No, I'm sorry. There's just hairs all over. I'm fine.
It's like you walked through a spider web in my periphery. I'm just sort of like...
Well, it's like 1 or 2 hairs were like touching me, and I can't handle it. So it's over now. We're good for the moment.
So the premise is after having saved the world from an apocalypse they caused for the second time.
It's always Vanya.
Okay. They travel back into 2019, aka the present. And it's sort of like an alternate timeline, I guess, when they confronted.
Oh, so yes, it's not a different universe like I originally said, but yes, it's a sort of a different timeline.
They when they confronted Reginald back in the 60s, he was so disgusted by what he saw that he adopted different kids. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That his thing was like, no, it's not me.
Yeah, I'm not the problem. But also, what's also interesting to me is you were right, because at the beginning it said only 16.
I thought it was like 40.
It is. It was like 43.
But I know he didn't find all 40, some of them. Or
he only got 7. Yeah.
So I'm not entirely sure what, I mean, when you're dealing with time travel, it's like maybe the events caused it to only be 16. I don't quite remember. So they're in the house. They meet the Sparrow Academy, which is this. Is it 7 still?
Yes. Yeah. They are only 6 because their Ben is dead. Okay. But the Sparrows are 7.
Which Reginald went ahead and kept Ben.
Yeah.
Why did he still adopt Ben, but not because Ben wasn't
in the past with them because he was already dead, so maybe he didn't know not to.
Okay.
Well, but Ben also died when they were like 14.
Yeah. Also, Ben is really hot.
So hot.
He's like skinny and ripped.
Justin Min.
The other guy their number one was
Marcus,
hot. He was hot too.
Justin Cornwell.
He had big titties. So we got 7 of them. Do you have a lock on who they are?
Mostly. We've got Sloane, who she just also seems strong. She was the really pretty one that Luther was having chemistry with. Luther, don't bang one of your maybe sisters challenge 2019 we'll go with. I already don't care if he fucks Allison because they're not biologically related. They were raised together, but it almost feels more like boarding school to me. And then I extra don't care if he bangs Sloane because they extra aren't related.
It's just funny.
Yeah.
It's just like
so we've got her, we've got Faye, who it was the one with the ravens.
So she is blind, but she can produce at a minimum ravens.
Yeah.
And multiple who can see.
For
Very
her.
Interesting plot. Yeah. I'll allow it. I said something and I don't remember how I phrased it, but I was like, they're just making shit up. I need an X-Men precedent.
Sure.
For powers. Sure. I'm like, I need to have seen.
That's fair. That's fair.
But it's interesting imagining living your life with that type of vantage point.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm wondering if there's I don't know. Very cool.
Yeah. And then we've got Marcus, who's their number one, who seems to just be strong. Alfonso, who if you hit him, it like rebounds. And also he's
not my favorite.
Disfigured.
I don't love it.
Somehow. Jamie, who they're all like really good fighters. Like some of the Umbrella Academy are not good at fighting, but like these ones are all good fighters. I mean, Vanya's not good at fighting either. But Jamie also can spit on you and it makes you see like your fantasy.
But it has something to do with desire.
Yeah.
Although, did Diego desire a dance-off?
I don't know. Maybe he just thought it would be funny.
Spectacular musical number.
To Footloose.
The entirety of Footloose. Beginning to end.
Like, basically, yeah.
The whole choreography. They did a great job. They all learned it.
Yeah.
Because we just had a similar musical number in The Boys. And I was like, it was good.
It was fine.
And this was great.
Yeah, it was really great. So I'm not 100% sure about Jamie. Because also she keeps calling everyone perverts. And I'm like, Diego called Grace mom. And she's like, ew, she's a robot, you pervert. And I was like, again, it was back to your thing where it's like, how are you not getting that, like, you had 2 different experiences in the same place? Like, I don't.
Well, to be fair, she did only do it twice, which is not enough for a pattern.
Sure, but it was like her go-to. And then she did it with 5, which was more allowed to be called, because he's in love with a mannequin.
And so she sees the fantasy, though?
Apparently, yeah.
Okay.
Because when Diego made eye contact with her, she was like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was fun.
So, that's not everybody, right, Sloane?
No, there's a cube.
Oh, yeah, there's a cube named Christopher.
I don't get that.
Me neither. They seem to
Was it always a cube? Did that cube come out of a woman? Did that cube come out of another cube?
Because we also were...
I don't...
Was there a pregnant cube somewhere? Because we also were very... Was it you or was it Will that was very concerned that octopus tentacles were going to be coming out of Ben's mom?
Will.
Because I was like, well, Ben is not... I was like, he has like octopus powers, but he himself is not an octopus.
But also the cube presumably has female or human love interests because a girl at a club kissed it. I don't know.
On the cheek.
I'm really hung up on the cube.
It's bizarre. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
And then, but Diego could understand it. I have more questions than I could possibly.
Because Diego was fighting the cube, just running around throwing knives at it, and then
he was
got
like,
on top
"No,
of it.
I'm not something or other."
And then got on top of it and started punching it, saying, "Who's your daddy now?" It was pretty funny.
It made me go into like a Benny Benassi like whirlpool. I don't know.
What is that?
It's a song.
Oh.
But I was, who's your daddy?
Okay, so that is everybody though, including Ben. Real weird. I don't have a lock right now. Also, it's like a couple of pretty brown-haired ladies, and then like not, and like
my kingdom for a blonde. I don't know.
Grace is the only blonde.
Well, she meanders off and started worshiping like
a pulsating orb in the basement.
Yeah, that killed the hot number 1 and also that stupid pug. It was so fat and ugly and funny, and and now its owner, he's just walking around looking for it with its leash.
It's pretty sad.
Because of that, I feel like we're gonna undo it. Well, and also one.
Yeah, maybe.
They're one. I don't know. I feel like that has to be undone. The pug thing was kind of egregious. I mean, I know that this show is a little bit ballsy, like a little bit cavalier, but that felt...
But it's always, to me, for as long as both shows have been on, it's felt like the sort of more whimsical cousin of the boys. You know what I mean?
And it's not fair to be comparing them, but that's just what humans do, so get over it. Especially when they're airing concurrently and similar in nature.
Yeah.
I don't know. The pug thing really stuck out to me, so we'll see what happens. It was a fat, stupid pug.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a golden retriever, which is kind of like the point of no return, but...
Sure.
Grace was like writing runes. I don't...
Grace was doing a bunch and worship. She's like, the orb is a message from God, and it was like really weird. It was also after Marcus had gone to meet with Vanya in a diner.
She like...
Yeah. She was
handled.
Like, you guys might be better than us, but you're not better than me. And if you don't do what I'm asking you to, I will show up to your little training session in front of, because he's got groupies
that he
that
does
just hang
like
out
every day. Also, you guys were really thrown by the fake roof. I kind of love it.
Oh,
I kind of love. I
just don't believe there's not like 30 Rock was the 30 Rock roof was not available that day.
I think that there's, I mean, granted, they were in a real park, so we do get physical locations on this show, but there's a whimsy, as you said, to the show that I don't mind digital vistas, again, especially when they're consistent. And I think that first flip he did was pretty uncanny. Yeah. But I think that it cleaned up a little by the second time. Yeah, I find what people refer to as shitty CGI. I oftentimes find it more charming than shitty. Yeah. It depends on yada yada.
Yeah. So anyway, Vanya wants the briefcase because mom took the briefcase.
We are gonna get a Vanya to Victor storyline this season. Yes. Because they're modeling it after Elliot's journey, where it's still Vanya, so it's Vanya for us. Yeah. There was I was curious at how we were going to tackle it, because I kind of didn't want it to be like, phew, we're back in 2019, and also I'm a man. Like, sure. I didn't want that, but there was a specific scene of like zooming in on Vanya in the bed, and it just looked pensive. And I was like, okay, I think that they are going to.
I think it's going to be explored. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's going to be just like oh, hey guys, by the way.
That's what I was a little bit. And I can't even say afraid, because I think that there's kind of merit to that too. Because sometimes, I mean, it'd be like that.
Just, but hey, FYI,
I'm a man. Yeah. And I think that's kind of awesome in and of itself. I'm a big fan of Elliot. He was on Seth Meyers last night, and I was watching the interview, and he seemed very
excited.
Well, kind of like excited and scared, and sort of like, I don't know. I think he's so cute. So
I agree with that. So anyway, they need the suitcase back. Vanya's trying to get it from Marcus. They're making a deal, and Faye sees with her birdie eyes that they're doing it, and then Ben is like, I'll take care of it. But before anything else can happen, Marcus gets sucked into the orb in the basement.
Mm-hmm. Painfully so.
It did seem like it hurt.
Like disintegrated.
Yeah. Other than that, Allison really thinks that she still has a daughter, and
What's not clicking?
I don't know.
What's not clicking?
What's making her think that? There's no way.
She calls because she's got two husbands now. Or, her and the first one are...
Ray, they're divorced, but also her husband in the 60s is potentially dead by this point, too.
Yeah, but she's, she was very much in love with him. Yeah. And so she calls Patrick and is just rattling off this voicemail. Yeah. And then the voicemail hung up on her. It was funny. Yeah. It literally was like, click. Yeah. There was no, voice box full.
Yeah. I don't know. Very weird to me that, all this stuff is different, but you think that you still had the same life enough that your husband and child are still where you left them.
I would be more annoyed if they all weren't kind of bringing that energy. Like, they're being very daft about the situation.
Well, so the only one that I like it from is Klaus, because he's leaning into it, because they get to this Hotel Obsidian so they can, like, recoup. It just
didn't even dawn on any of them that they didn't have money, and I was like, what is this, Crossroads? Like,
it's also like a titties hotel, though. It's so cool. It's, like, really old and, like, amazing.
The chandelier is good. I thought you meant that it's like a brothel, and I was like, also, I missed that. But there's two weird women with the cats.
Not 100% no. Anyway, they Klaus is like, they're very discreet. Don't worry about it. When they first walk in, you're getting a vibe that it's going to be sort of like the whatchamacallit from John Wick.
I kind of went the Hotel Cortez from American Horror Story.
Yeah, or that. And so he gets up and he's like, hey, I'll have my usual suite. And the bellman is like, I've never seen you before in my life. And he goes, see what I mean? Very discreet. And I'm just like, whatever, I want what Klaus is having.
Pour one out that in this timeline that we get, what's his name? Robert Sheehan and not Ezra Miller.
Woof. Thank God. They were both up for it. Well, anyhow, so yeah, they're all hanging out in this hotel. What else we got? Diego. Lila finds Diego and drops off their son, who is also Ashtray from Euphoria, and he spoke words. His name is Stan, right? Wasn't it Stan? Yeah. Javon Walton. That's hilarious. Then she just dipped out. She also had a briefcase.
Yeah. Javon Walton is one of those, I think he's a little bit
older than he looks.
He's deceptively older and ripped. So I wouldn't be surprised if Stan suddenly throws down at some point.
Okay. He comes from like an
MMA family type thing.
So there was a picture of all of them. First of all, they all came out of the same cookie cutter and they all have abs, and the youngest one is 5. It's crazy. Okay, what else do we got? 5 was pondering the implications, and he basically was just don't go near your your self, because they're still around, they just didn't get adopted by Reginald.
And you can go insane if you spend too much time with,
because that happened in season 2. 5 and his older self was the one who assassinated Kennedy. It was a whole thing. It was very funny. Yeah, I think that is it for the most part. Yeah. And then there's a man named Lester Pocket who very specifically and yet also haphazardly packed a suitcase and then got on a bus and then listened to a tape of Bees.
A suitcase full of 6 sandwiches, and I ran the numbers, and that gets me a maximum of 2 days. Okay. Maybe a day and a half.
I was going to say it because they were just regular bread sandwiches. They weren't Jersey Mike subs.
That gets me 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's not not even for me would that maybe get me 2 days. Okay, yeah. So, that is pretty much it. So we are going to go watch episode 2. Oh, before we go, actually, I forgot that I love this show the most because of the music, and I would like to personally thank Gerard Way because I know it's because of him. So, all right. That's all.
Like and subscribe, thumbs up. It does great for us, and we're trying to do great and do great for you.
Bye. You look like fucking Joe Keery in that after season 3 when they made that fake commercial for Scoops Ahoy.
Thank you.